What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you another 5 things in Divinity Original Sin 2 that you may have missed. So I did that first video, it did pretty well, everybody seemed to enjoy it, so I figured I'd go ahead and do another one like people asked. So the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to start with one I would be surprised if a lot of people know about, and I'm going to end with one that I would be surprised if almost anyone knows about, but is also hilarious. In no particular order other than that, let's go ahead and get started. So for the very first one, you need an elf, because elves, as a lot of people know, have that ability where if they consume sentient flesh, they get the memories of it as kind of like flashbacks or whatever. Well, if you take an elf into the city of Driftwood, which is the main hub in Act 2, and you use that elf to eat some of the Void-Tainted fish in the area, you will be pleasantly surprised to find out that you will actually be given a sort of first-hand account of the memories of the God King as he was banished to the Void by the Seven. Now, lore-wise, this actually doesn't add or change anything, it's just information we already knew, but from a unique and interesting angle, and it's very easy to miss. Even if you play with an elf a lot, you might not necessarily think to eat these for memories, simply because they're not, like sentient flesh like anything else would be. So just a really cool thing there for people. Now for our second thing, we again need our elf. However, outside of the city of Driftwood, roughly in the area we actually touch down in Act 2 at, after we get off the Lady Vengeance, just a short ways away from us will be a beached shark. Now, if we have someone who can speak to animals in our party, or we are using the gift bag which gives everybody the ability to speak to animals, we can go talk to that shark and ask it what's going on. And we'll learn that that shark beached itself to escape the void woken in the water, because apparently there's all sorts of void woken spawning in the ocean, which, given the game starts with an account of a kraken, that's not terribly unsurprising. However, the shark makes it clear that it plans on dying right here, and you can either assist with its death or walk away. But should you kill the shark, you will actually be able to find a bloodied leg, which you can then use an elf to eat and find out the memories of. And it turns out that, very sadly, this leg belonged to a 9-year-old little boy who lived in Driftwood. Now, by itself, that's pretty dark, but it doesn't actually end there. Once you go to the town of Driftwood, you can find 2 kids standing by the docks, and if you talk to them and ask them what they're waiting for at the docks, they'll tell you about their friend that was trying to swim to Fort Joy, and you can, then take the conversation from there and choose to decide whether or not to tell them what happened to their friend or keep it a secret. And I gotta tell you, as a father, I would not tell some little kids about that. Alright, for our third thing, which I imagine will probably be the most well-known overall of all of these things, in the Ancient Empire Consulate in Arx, which is the last act of the game, at the very edge of it, we can kind of see this strip of land on the beach below us, and if we have an ability that will get us down there, such as flight or phoenix dive or any other ability really, we can jump down to the beach, and if we walk along it, we can find a dead Voidwoken impaled with a unique spear. Now, this is one of the best spears in the game, but spears overall in the base game aren't super useful and are only really helped out by mods, but nonetheless, a very cool, unique spear that you can find. It's usually level 20, I believe. And while not an amazing weapon overall, it's just a cool find nonetheless. And then for our fourth thing, also in the city of Arx, under a bridge near the Manor of Linder Kim, you can actually see a giant Voidwoken. It can be a little easy to miss if you're not paying attention, but it's fairly big, so it wouldn't exactly escape attention. However, if you use the teleportation skill to teleport it up to you, you can loot it. It has some okay loot, but the really cool thing about this Voidwoken that you probably won't notice until you get it fully teleported up to you is that outside of the Kraken, I'm pretty sure it's the biggest Voidwoken in the game by a large margin. It's a very big Voidwoken. And it's just cool to see a Voidwoken of that size in-game, even if you don't actually wind up fighting one. Now, that brings us to our last thing. Now, this one, again, I would be surprised if a lot of people know about this, but it is hilarious. So, it technically starts in Act 1, because it's a bit of a story of 2 crabs. In Act 1, Fort Joy, right outside the prison area, right before you get to the crocodilians that have the gloves of teleportation, you can find a crab wandering the beach. And again, if you have the Pet Pal perk or are using the gift bag that allows you to talk to animals regardless, you can talk to this crab, and its name is Septa the Ineffable. Now, it's an evil crab, but it also claims to be a sorcerer. Now, for the most part, this conversation is meaningless. It's a clearly evil crab. It makes sinister remarks, even mentions you dying at one point. It doesn't really do anything. However, fast forward to Act 3 when you're on the Nameless Isle. Just south of the Altar of Zorlstissa, you can find a separate crab named Empyro, I don't know. But anyways, if you talk to this crab, it'll tell you how it's actually looking for Septa the Ineffable because she's a foul sorcerer. And you can choose to tell this crab that you are in fact yourself a sorcerer. And when it asks if you're working for Septa, if you actually say yes, it will attack you. If you say no, it's just like, all right, whatever. But if you say that you are working for Septa, he will transform into a giant crab that you can then fight. Now, when it dies, it drops a crab claw. Offhand, I don't know if there's a use for it. There might be. But the fight itself is really the funny thing here. And it's just a really easy bit of missable nonsense that I really enjoy. But there you go, guys. There is 5 things, again, that you may have missed in Divinity Original Sin 2. Please, by all means, let me know if you knew about any of them, didn't know about some of them. But if you liked the video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of it, truly just thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.